A Trump-appointed federal judge in Texas struck down Joe Biden's plan to give $10,000 of student debt forgiveness for millions of Americans. Now, this is going to have a huge impact on the Democrats' ability to build a coalition of voters by transferring the deadbeats' debt to other Americans who never took out the loans. And if you stick with me through this video, I will explain to you why this student debt relief program will make the recipients' lives far worse than having to pay off their student loans. Hey everyone, welcome back. Every American inherently knows when something is unfair. Even animals understand unfairness. If you have two dogs and you only give one a treat, the other one understands that he got robbed. So then why is it that Democrats either don't understand or don't care that people figured this out? And it wasn't enough for the judge to just strike this down, but he went on to explain the U.S. Constitution to the members of the lawless Biden regime. U.S. District Judge Mark Pittman scolded Joe Biden in an epic rant, explaining to him that he did not have the right to forgive the debt without some form of action from the House and an affirmative vote by the U.S. Senate. Being president, you would think, and especially after spending 50 years of his life in the federal government, you would think that Joe Biden would understand this. I personally think he does understand it, but he just doesn't care because he's an evil person. It is evil to make someone work for you and you get the compensation. They call that slavery, folks. Lincoln's famous quote on describing slavery was, "You work and toil and earn bread, and I'll eat it." This is exactly what Biden's student loan forgiveness program does. It says to the American people that this debt was transferred to you, so you work and toil and earn bread, and I'll eat it. For the liberals in the audience, I'll dumb it down even more. Joe Biden is saying to the millions of Americans who are now going to be stuck with someone else's debt, you work and earn a living, and I'm going to take from you to pay off this other person's debt that you had nothing to do with. It's not only wrong, it's immoral. And if you disagree with me on this, then you are also wrong and you are immoral. So what the judge was explaining to the potato head president is that the balance of power that the founding fathers set up to keep any one branch from becoming a dictatorship is what he's trying to teach to Biden and probably the Democrats in the Congress as well. Okay, he points out that all spending bills must originate in the House of Representatives. Now, if we think about it, that one rule right there, which is in the Constitution, it's in Article 1, we could throw out Obamacare because it originated in the Senate. The spending bill for Obamacare, remember, it wasn't a tax. And Judge Roberts said, you can use it as a tax. And they go, it's a tax. Well, that is a revenue bill. Okay? It started in the Senate. So that could be thrown out, but that's for another video. Okay. So liberals think that these rules were built into the Constitution no longer matter. I heard some of them saying things like, well, that's ancient. That was written over 200 years ago. That doesn't matter. It's still as sound today as it was over 200 years ago. You just don't like it, all right, because it doesn't help you. So back in August, Biden announced his plan, and since then he has been criticized by Republicans who made the same argument that Judge Pittman did, but he announced that he was canceling $10,000 worth of student debt for each borrower and up to $20,000 for recipients of Pell Grants. And here you see on the federal student aid government website, it says the Biden-Harris administration student debt relief plan explained. So they just put in student loan debt relief is blocked. Courts have issued orders blocking our student debt relief program. As a result, at this time, we're not accepting applications. We are seeking to overturn those orders. So in other words, what they're saying is they don't care that this Judge Pittman told them that it's unconstitutional, that you can't do it, that you're violating the separation of powers. They don't give a damn. They're trying to get some other sympathetic court who also doesn't believe in the Constitution to overrule it. It'll go all the way up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will say, no, you cannot do it. It's illegal. Prior to the midterms, it was just Joe Biden's way of buying votes. I mean, let's be honest. And now he just wants to do it to build a legacy of voters for the Democratic Party. The Democrats are very good at doing that. They get young skulls full of mush who have student loan debt that they signed on the dotted line for. And then they tell them, we'll take care of it for you. And the implied bargain there is that you will vote Democrat for the rest of your lives. A lot of them would. Oh, they helped me out. No, they didn't. Here's the awful something that they never tell you about. Okay, so you may have been relieved of your student debt, but then when you get out into the workforce for the rest of your natural life, you will be a slave debtor to everyone else's student loan debt. So you're not really being relieved of your student loan debt per se. You're being railroaded by a federal government to be responsible for the burden of everyone else's student loans from now on for the rest of your life. Just like the rest of us. Except we're paying your loan that you signed on the dotted line for. You're a deadbeat. Are you starting to see why this is such a horrible idea? Or did I not get through the first 5 layers of concrete in a liberal's head? Judge Pittman wrote, in his opinion, quote, "In this country, we are not ruled by an all-powerful executive with a pen and a phone." I love that. That was referring to Obama. Instead, we are ruled by a constitution that provides for 3 distinct and independent branches of government. This is first-grade stuff, kids. The court is not blind to the current political division in our country, but it is fundamental to the survival of our republic that the separation of powers as outlined in the Constitution be preserved. And having interpreted the HEROES Act, the court holds that it does not provide clear congressional authorization for the program proposed by the secretary. Now, amen, brother. Unless Biden can get this lame duck Congress to take action before the Republicans take over the House and possibly the Senate if Herschel Walker is allowed to have a free and fair runoff election, it's unlikely that he'll be able to deliver on this promise. I personally don't think that he even remembers the promise unless someone brings it up to him and reminds him. He's not with us all the time, folks. Biden's so-called planned forgiveness was unfair on the face of it, not just because so many people took out loans and were responsible for paying off what they owed, but also because people who never went to college and do not make the type of wages that college graduates make upending, they're paying those bills. And if you disagree with that, then I have some wonderful miracle supplements I would love to sell you. Now, I'm going to put the link down into the description, and please visit rpwmedia.com to read all of our stories. It helps. So thanks for being with us. We will see you in the next one.
Welcome to my party, we're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare scarring. Hand me a drink cause I think I'm going all in. Get me a shrink who can catch me when I'm falling. Cover up my scars, flip the handlebars, crashing in my car. Wake up